Hi guys, welcome to your regular YouTube channel, Havilah School of Marriage, where we give you first-hand information on courtship, marriage, and the family. As we promise you every Sunday, we'll give you a very captivating and life-transforming message on marriage. I'm sure you have been blessed so far by what we have been sharing. And please, don't always fail to subscribe and to share to as many people as possible because they need this information. We need marriages to be glorious. Havilah School of Marriage is out to give you first-hand information on marriage and by then lead you into glorious marriages and leave a transgenerational legacy. And those who are already in marriage to make your marriage even more glorious, or to turn it from a failed one or from a failing one to a glorious one. We believe that even divorced couples will come back together through this Havilah School of Marriage of Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Crysantus and Linda Nzometia. Thank you very much. So today we are going to start a series on overcoming marital delay. Overcoming marital delay. And today we are going to establish what is marital delay. And to do that, we will have to examine when is the right age to get married. So many people ask this question. When is the right age to get married? You understand, we live in a world full of disparities and different cultures. Marriage and marital decisions are greatly affected by culture, religion, and the location in which people find themselves on the earth. In some cultures, children are betrothed to men even as they are born. So when they grow up to the point they start having secondary sexual characteristics, they are given into marriage. There are many cultures and some still practice that, though there are a lot of programs on the earth trying to fight this. You have, in Western nations, the marriage age is different from the Africa where we are, especially sub-Saharan Africa. And I did a brief study between the white race or the Western nations and the black race, who we are. And I realized that in the Western nations, people get married a little earlier than in the African setting or amongst the blacks. And what is the main reason for this? I began to examine because I realized that some people get married as early as 18 years and 20, men and women, and they succeed in their marriages. I did a study on the marriages of men of God, both secular leaders and spiritual leaders, and I realized that some got married, the man was 20, the wife was 18. Sometimes the man was 21, the wife was 20, or sometimes both were 18 years, and they lived together for over 50, 60 years in marriage, and they didn't know what they call divorce. Then in Africa, I did a study and realized that most men got married between the ages 25 and 40. 25 and 40, and the ladies too, their ages were a little more, maybe 23, 24, 25, some even up to 30. And what explains this? In the Western nations, children are released into their into the adulthood, or they are given independence as early as 16 years. But in our setting, some government consider children to be ripe to take their own decisions when they are 21. In some of them, they take it up to 18. So this influences a lot the ages of marriage. So a child that is given to marriage before these ages in some nations is considered child abuse. But if a child takes her decision, for example, in our own country, Cameroon, up from 21 years and above, the parents are not supposed to influence the one she took the decision with or sue the person because the child is capable of taking her decisions at that age. But in some cultures, it is as early as 16. And so, again, the ages of marriage also depend a lot on what people earn. And you realize that in Western nations, there are many more job opportunities, and they go to school early, they go to school on time, and their educational system are very flexible. So people graduate from school early and they start having what to do early. And they develop a lot their gifts. They have a lot of platforms to develop their gifts, their talent. You see a child who is 10 years, 12, 13, 14, earning billions already through talents and gifting. But in Africa, we hardly have those platforms. You see a child who can do gymnastics, it earns as much as gymnastics. A child can play football. We don't have all those platforms. Children who can do craft work and so on and so forth. We don't really have platforms to develop that. A few who really force themselves emerge in this. And at the end, you realize that among the black race, especially here in Africa, many people start succeeding to have something to put on their table from the ages 25 and even 30. And now the rate of unemployment has even increased. And so even at the ages 30 and above, you see some people still looking for what to do. People have not been trained to develop themselves to the point that they can use their skills, their gifts, their talents to earn a living which can permit them to establish a home. And so when you go into the Bible, Proverbs 24 verse 27, in the New King James Version, it says, "Prepare your outside work, make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterward build a house." And afterward build a house. Good News Bible puts it a little different. Good News Bible puts it differently. It says, "Don't build your house and establish a home until your fields are ready and you are sure that you can earn a living." Don't build your house and establish a home until your fields are ready and you are sure that you can earn a living. So in Africa, people fend for themselves. You have very few children that grow up whose parents already made way for them so that they can have jobs or they can even have something in their bank accounts. Many struggle for themselves, or parents still struggle to send their children. When they graduate from school, they start looking for jobs. By the time they start having jobs, it's already late. And again, many people grow up with this wrong notion that they are too young to get married. So when they even reach the age of marriage, they don't even yet know. You see a young lady who already has all the secondary sexual characteristics developed. She's educated, she's in school, and she thinks that her education is her first husband. A very wrong notion that has landed many in marital delay. And so she does not even know that she's in the age of marriage. And when she's even passing the age, she does not say no. She thinks that she has to acquire something first or have a salary first, because in those days, some women were not educated, their husband maltreated them a lot. And so the paradigm shifted where women think that they need to be able to earn something before they enter marriage. It's a very wrong misconception that has landed some in marital delay. So when they come to the age of marriage, for men, a man should be able to earn a living. He should be able to earn a living. And we are doing a lot of work to encourage young men to discover their giftings, their talents, to develop skills so that they don't depend only on the governments of their nations to be able to provide something for them, or their parents' inheritance to provide something for them. Once a young man can provide for himself, he's ripe for marriage. And for a lady, ladies are like people who are at the airport waiting to take off. Once you reach the age of maturity, you reach the age where you are physically matured, we'll start looking at other aspects, preparation, which we encourage that you should start right from when the child is in the womb. The parents should start preparing the child, and as the child is growing up, once you reach the age of physical maturity and womanhood where you can take decisions for yourself, you are ripe to get married. That notion that education is your first husband, wipe it out and deliver yourself from that, so that you can effectively get into marriage at the right time and will not find yourself under pressure because you thought that you were too young to get married. You skipped that age. Suitors came, you rejected them, and then you reach the time you think that you are ready, and they are no forthcoming. We are sharing this so you understand this thing. When they talk about the age of marriage, there is no cutoff point. I think that, and from scripture, I just shared Proverbs 24 verse 27 to you from two versions of the Bible. When a man is capable of earning a living, he should get married. And this man should not be a man that's dependent on the government of his nation. All of us, God created us with gifts and talents. If you discover it on time and intentionally develop them, as young as 15, 18, 20, you can really start doing something. But at 15, you realize that you are still an adolescent who is still dependent. Even though you may be earning something, you are still under guardian. From the ages 18 and above, you start. I told you, I did a study in the Western nations. Men got married at 18, 20, and they live for 60 years, 65 years, 50 years with their partners, and they never divorced. Somebody deceives you that if you get married too early, the chances of divorce are high. It's not true. If you are prepared, nothing like that will happen. And as a young lady, women got married early, 16 years. Our mothers in those days, 16 years, 18 years, 17 years, they never divorced. Today, we encourage that young ladies should finish and reach the high school. By the time they are finishing and getting to the university, they have acquired a lot, and their eyes are open enough, and they have also gotten mature. And in our setting, I've seen the youngest ones that got into the university. Some get into the university at 16. And so if you are a child that gets into the university at the age of 16, a young lady, and you continue thinking that you are small, you deceive yourself, because your academic pursuits puts you in a state where you have to mature. And even in some Western nations, at the age of 16, young ladies are released to take their decisions. And then at that age, you think that you are too young, you cannot prepare for marriage. You get to 18, you think that you are too young, you cannot prepare for marriage, or you are not ready for marriage. You continue rejecting suitors. And then the ages that they should come, you start thinking that you have delayed. Or you start praying and hoping that the man should come. No. And the worst part is that at that age, you think that you are too young, but you don't keep yourself. You continue sleeping from one man to the other. And that is a great trap. Why not just get married? Why not just wait on God, look for the right person, get married to the person, and save yourself that trap? Some of those men that can end up transmitting diseases that may land you in difficulties in the future, that we are going to be talking about in subsequent videos. And then the man that accepts that deception and continues with you, some of them become vectors of disease. You are a man, you think that you can earn a living, look for a wife and get married. Don't fall in this deception that you need to enjoy your youthfulness. You start going from one nightclub to another, and then you become a vector of disease, where you start transmitting disease to young ladies and dampening their future. Once you think that you have reached the age where you can earn something, you can earn a living, you can effectively put food on your table, then you are ripe for marriage, a man. And a lady, you are physically matured, you can take decisions, you are ripe for marriage. Thank you. Share this video, discuss it among yourself. If you are married, start educating your children already. Start preparing your children if you're already in marriage. Share it to your people who are still having this challenge, or who think their education is their first husband, or they are too young to get married, or they need to enjoy their youthfulness first before they get married. What is that enjoyment? What do you think is that enjoyment? It is a trap. God said, when you are young, do what your heart tells you, do what you want, but know that He will judge you. And then you go forth to recommend that serve God when you are young. And God again talks about the wife of your youth, the husband of your youth. So, which age do you think you are no longer a youth? Think about these things, meditate on these things, and stay tuned, because next week we are going to continue with this series. It's going to be a long series, and we encourage you to invite others, because our objectives is to end marital delay. And I assure you, you are going to be greatly blessed by this. Thank you very much.